What's up? I'm back. Okay, so I'm gonna do an Oracle card review or my top 5 favorite um, cute Oracle cards I own and my dopest Oracle cards I own. So that's what I'm going to do. So I know you guys saw me with the tarot ones, but I wanted to do the oracle ones. So I know it's late. Some of you guys might not be on the live stream. If it does glitch, I apologize. I'm live streaming. If you see me talking to people on the side, I'm not crazy. I'm live streaming. Okay. So I have top 5 cute and top 5 dopest. So technically I'm reviewing 10 oracle decks that I find the best that I own. In the description box below, I'm going to leave my top 5 cutest tarot decks. I'm going to leave in the description box how to give yourself an accurate tarot card reading, as well as my top 5 tarot decks suggested for beginners and oracle cards suggested for beginners. And those will be in the description box below. If you guys want to click on the links to those videos, you guys can do so. Alright, so my tarot decks that I find the most cutest, I've chosen 5. I wouldn't really classify this as cute per se, but it is technically. So this is by John Holland, and this is the Psychic Tarot for the Heart Oracle cards. They are tarot inspired. I do have his Psychic Tarot Oracle cards as well. The hearts are more like love based, from matters of the heart or more romantic relationships as well. These types of boxes are my favorite. I do like these. I do prefer boxes like these or the ones that open up like this rather than the like paper box ones, because those get destroyed in no time. The guidebook is fairly thick. He does have the descriptions. He also goes into how to get started. He also has his own card spreads and things like that. He goes into the chakras as well. He does have chakra cards in both his Psychic Tarot for the Heart, which I'm reviewing, and his Psychic Tarot. He has chakras in there. So like I said, this is tarot based. The only exception with his cards is they do not have court cards. So you will not see Queen of Wands. You will not see the Page of Swords and all of that. You're not going to see that in his deck. But I also feel like this is good for beginners because it will help you establish a bond with tarot, because it does give you the structure of tarot. So the release card is like the death card. So it's kind of giving a description of what the death card is like. Most people, when they see the death card, they freak out. Um, you know, they freak out like, what does that mean? I'm gonna die? No, it's not necessarily. But yeah, so he has spreads just like any other tarot guidebook or oracle guidebook. They do have their own individual spreads. So if you guys need some direction, like what type of energies to pull, like what's my week like, or 3-card pull, past, present. He has a yearly focus spread. He does have a past, present, and future spread. So he helps you with how to develop your psychic abilities. He goes into that. He does go into a color breakdown. So on the cards there are colors. So he kind of goes into what colors could mean to give you a further, more in-depth. Numerology, he goes into the numerologic meaning of each card, which is dope. I like that. I love numerology. And then, of course, there's affirmations as well, which is cool. But he goes into the description of each card. I love these cards. They're colorful. Even the ones that are depicted as dark or negative, but I've obviously used these cards a lot because they're worn out. These are one of my favorite decks. So I use these a lot for my personal readings. The Shine card is like the Sun card. So they're not going to have the same names as the tarot cards, but they kind of help you if you're a beginner to learn the tarot. The only exception is the court cards. That's the only exception. They say these are for love, but they can be used for any other reading. I like them. The colors pop. They stand out to me. They help me with my intuition. But I do love these cards. They are dope. These are one of my favorite cards to use. So I would suggest this for beginners. for oracle readers and tarot readers. If you guys are, want to get your feet wet in tarot, I would suggest John Holland's Psychic Tarot for the Heart and his Psychic Tarot Oracle cards, which I also have too. I bought these off Amazon. They have to have been under $20, I think. I think I only spent $15, $16, I think, on Amazon Prime. So these are not hard to find. Actually, I bought my brother's for Christmas. I bought mine from a bookstore, and I think mine from the bookstore was about the same price, like $15.95 or something like that. Okay. All right. My next favorite. I've had this deck for a minute too. I would suggest this reading for kids who want to learn reading. If you feel comfortable with your children, or if you have a teenager who's into reading, you can use these as your beginner. If you're a fairy lover like me, I love fairies. This is the Magical Messages from the Fairy Oracle cards by Dorian Virtue. These are cute cards. I think she actually suggests these for kids too. She does have a deck, Oracle deck for children actually. Here's the guidebook. Dorian Virtue, like everybody else, does have spreads. I believe in this one she does, at least. Her other ones do. She tells you how to shuffle the cards, how to meditate. She does have her spreads, 3-card spread, multiple decks. So she does go into the meanings, of course, of each oracle card. Additional meanings, they also come with affirmations, like John Holland's. They have affirmations that you can state with the cards. These are very cute. I love these cards. I don't use them often as I used to. When I started my journey with tarot and readings, this was one of my first decks that I bought. And this is the cards. They're so cute. I love these cards. Dorian Virtue, she'll give you, even in her tarot deck, she'll give you like a mini description on each card. So it kind of gives you a focus. But these are her cards. I don't know if you guys can see them. I'm sorry. Kind of hard to see. I'm not going to show you all the cards. You guys can look these up on your own. Just wanted to give you guys a feel. The boxing is nice. I do like boxes. I prefer these types of boxes over the paper boxes that most tarot cards come in. And some oracle cards come in too. So, yeah. I think I got this from a local bookstore, but you guys can find this online, I'm sure. Okay. Magical Spells by Lucy Cavendish. Cavendish, I hope I'm pronouncing her name. I got this from my local bookstore as well. This is one of my favorite decks because I do spells, but I'm not like an evil spell worker. I don't do stuff like that. I'm more of manifestation. I'm more of course, I've done love spells, health spells, beauty spells, inner work self spells, money spells. I've done it all. So I can appreciate these types of cards, but these are like light spells, which I love. I fell in love with this deck when I saw it. I'm like, oh, I thought it was kind of corny when I first looked at it, but then when I got it and actually like looked, the guidebook is really what made me go, okay, this deck is cool. So it's more of an instructional book. It's not a guidebook. So she has every spell you can think of. She has the Aphrodite love spell, the abundance, the prosperity, the justice, the letting go, the wisdom, the peace, the authenticity, success, energy, friendship, courage, best possible decision. She has everything you can think of. Fertility, organization, health, trust, confidence. I love this deck. So it has 44 spells in it. And it will give you a breakdown, and it will also tell you how to perform the spell. Now, if you guys are not into stuff like that and you think it's spooky, you think it's evil, this is not the deck for you. If it's just for fun and you just want to have the cards for fun, for pick-a-card readings, if you're a reader, I would suggest this deck. I do love, they're very, easy on the eyes, okay? Like I said, she has any spell you can think of. She has safe travel spell, okay? New beginning spell. Good cheer. I love these cards. Best possible decision. Safe home protection. Grace. Peace. Joy. She has it all. I love the friendship one. That's cute. It's like a little birthday cake. success, magical powers, authenticity, healing, courage. She has everything in here. So I would suggest the spread. I actually got it from a local bookstore, but I'm sure you can find it Amazon, eBay, any bookstore online, possibly your local metaphysical store. Just depends. But I'm sure you guys can find it online somewhere. I didn't pay that much for it. I paid probably $15 or less for this deck. I do like the booklet and the boxing. It's easy to handle and work with. Next is the Wisdom of the Oracle. I love the Wisdom of the Oracle deck. This is one of my favorite. This is by Colette Baron Reed. I have a few of her decks. I do like her decks. She is, I would say her Oracle cards are a little complex for those of you who are just getting started. Her decks actually pushed me out of my comfort zone. The thing is, my mom is not a reader by any means. She doesn't know nothing about tarot or nothing like that, but she just felt guided to use these cards one time, and she gave me a reading with them. So she resonates with these cards. So I can't say that they're not beginner friendly, but to me, Colette Baron's, some of her interpretations are a little in depth. You know, they're a little advanced, at least in my opinion. So the Wisdom of the Oracle, which I love this deck. She has a pretty thick guidebook. And I love the fact that, of course, like everybody else, I do have to say she has her spreads, different types of readings that you can do, like every other card book. So in her interpretations of her book or her cards, she has the essential meaning of the card. She has the oracle message. She has the relationship message, the prosperity message, and the protection message. So sometimes you do have to have an intention with these cards. So if it's like, I want to know what's going on with my love life, of course you'll probably revert to the relationship message meaning in the book. If it's, what do I need to know? Maybe the protection or maybe the essential meaning. It just depends on your focus. But these are one of my favorite. I love these cards because they have like this fairy tale, almost like Disney Pixar theme. It kind of reminds me, some of the cards do at least, but I love, and it's glossy. It's got that glossy finish. It's not like hard to destroy by any means. If it gets wet, it's probably not going to destroy the cards easily, unless you let it soak in water or something. But I don't see these being that destroyed, and I've used them quite a bit, but they still are holding on. I had these cards for 2 years now. I love these cards. I'm not going to go through all of them. You probably seen these on a few readers' pages, but these are pretty popular cards. Colette Baron is a popular oracle card maker, but it's 52 cards in this deck. I do like the boxing. I love boxes like this, if I haven't said that already. I did get these off Amazon. I don't recall the price. You probably won't spend over $20 for this deck, depending on where you get it. But Amazon Prime, this is one of my favorite. It is adorable to me. I love the colors. Okay, my last cutest oracle before I get to the dopest ones. This is the Cutest, and this is the Angel Reading Cards by Debbie Malone. Now, she has some cute decks, too. Her decks are very beautiful and very vibrant. I think I have another one of her decks. Maybe not. Not here. So, this is the guidebook, and I love decks that open like this, tarot and oracle, because it's easy to store. They don't get destroyed easily. The angel wings inside is a nice touch. It's awesome. So let's get into it. This one. So the angel reading cards, this is her guidebook. It says, when you believe in angels, anything is possible. These are very beautiful cards. It's like, they're very vibrant. At first I was kind of turned off by them because they have like realistic looking people on them, and I don't like cards like that where it's like photography of people. Like, I'd rather you just illustrate the picture itself, the whole card. I don't really care for the people, but it didn't really turn me off that much. They do have card spreads and layouts as well in her daily inspiration spread, her 7-day spread, angels of purpose, angel of encouragement, resolution spread, and then it gets into her interpretations of her cards. So it almost looks exactly like you're looking at the card in the book. That's how big this spread is. It's not the exact size, obviously, but it looks exactly like the cards. They do have affirmations. So they have Angel of Bullying. I love angel cards. Some people think they're cheesy, but I love them. Hers are pretty in depth. They're not just like cheesy cards like, oh, you're going to find love today. They're not that type of card. So they have some, the clairsentience, clairaudience, clairvoyance. They have that Angel of Truth. Look how pretty these cards are. Can y'all see how pretty those are? Angel of Healing. Angel of Romance. They have numbers on them, so if you're into numerology, there you go. I want to show you my favorite one in this deck. Just to show you how pretty these cards are. Bullying, Angel of Release, Strength. You guys can look these up on your own, but this is my favorite one, the Chakra Balancing Angel. I love this card. It's so pretty. It's my favorite. And the little angel wings at the top. So, and then it's got little pretty silver. Okay, so that's one of my favorite, my cutest. I would suggest this one. And I wouldn't really say this is cute. I don't want to say that all the way, but it is a good deck to have in your collection. And this one I bought from my local bookstore. Or did I get it online? I think I got it on eBay. Yeah, I got it on eBay. And it was like, I think $29. That is kind of expensive, but it is what it is. Okay, so hopefully you guys are still here with me. So my next set of cards are my top 5 dopest decks, meaning coolest oracle cards I own. So it was kind of hard to choose, but I have the Energy of the Oracle, and this is by Sandra Ann Taylor. This is a favorite. I see a lot of people, or I have seen a lot of people use these decks. A lot of readers have these cards. Some of them might still be using these, but I remember back when I bought them, they were very popular, and I've seen them on one Angel Card Readers deck YouTube channel like years ago, and I'm like, I gotta have these. So I bought these from my local bookstore. These can give you some very intense readings, but in a good way. Here's her guidebook. It's pretty thick. Alright. So she goes in about the cards and whatnot, reading the energy of the oracles, preparing for your reading. She goes into that in her guidebook. Of course, she has her spreads that she, goes into depth of how to pull your own spread. Then she has a prayer, an invocation or a prayer to start your reading, if you feel comfortable doing that. I like doing my own prayers. I don't really take to doing other people's prayers and stuff like that. But she goes into the interpretation of the reading or the card meaning. She has the uprights, and then she has a reversed version of the card, and then she has an affirmation. So let's get into it. My favorite type of boxing. So Deceit. If you guys are into numerology, it has numbers. The Yin and Yang card, which is reversed right now. The Yin and Yang. I love the vibrancy of these cards as well. The imagery on these cards is very pretty. I've used these cards a lot. It's very worn out, as you can see. These are fairly easy to read, I would say. Beginner-friendly cards, I would say. Not that hard to read. I'm not going to get into all of the cards, but it does have a glossy finish. They're not like paper thin to where they can easily fold and bend, but these are good cards to use. If you have small hands, it might be hard for you to shuffle because these are pretty thick. But these are good cards to use. I would suggest these. These are beautiful cards, very vibrant, very easy to read. So, Energy Oracle by Sandra Ann Taylor. These are not for everybody, but these are very beautiful cards nonetheless. I love Isis. Who doesn't? Isis, Goddess. So this is the Isis Oracle by Alana Fairchild. Alina. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name right. Her guidebook is pretty thick. It's pretty nice size. Her boxing is beautiful. I love the indigo color inside. I'm all into the detail, but this is a beautiful book. I love this. She has spreads as well in her book. She has spreads, her own unique spread, Golden Son of Horus spread. Now, I don't read guidebooks too often, so I can kind of skip some of the goodness in these cards. But when I use these Isis cards, when I do use them, which is very rare, I feel like this is like on an occasion type of card pull. I don't really suggest, just me, my opinion, these are not everyday type of cards. You know, this has to be for a specific type of reading, like more of a in-depth or past life reading, or if you are working with Isis energy, I would suggest it, which I do my past life readings usually with the Isis Oracle. But here's her meanings, and it goes into depth, but I would suggest reading it. This is probably the only guidebook that I really read the interpretations and meanings because it is in depth. She does have prayers for each meaning of the book. Now, I'm going to get into the best part, which is the cards. These cards are probably one of the most beautiful cards I've ever seen. Whoever designed them, they're beautiful. And these are fairly, like, a nice size. I have small hands, and they're about the same size almost as my hands a little bit. They're easy to shuffle because they have that glossy finish. Some cards with glossy finishes get stuck. These don't. They're thin too, so that's good. These are very beautiful cards, you can see. The Lunar Queen is one of my favorite, but sorry for the glare, but this is, I'm not going to go through all the cards, but I would definitely suggest this deck for you guys if you're into Egyptian, ancient Kemet. Some of you guys might be offended by some of the imagery on it because it might not fit your liking. You know what I mean? The Osiris. So, yeah. That's the Isis Oracle. I've also gotten this off Amazon Prime. I cannot remember the price, so my bad. I don't remember the pricing. So, my next favorite, I actually worked with these before I bought them. So years and years ago, maybe like back in 2012, my brother actually had this deck, and I used it once, and he gave me a reading from it once as well. So I had to get my own about a year or so ago. I bought these off Amazon. These are called the Karma Cards by Monte Farber. I don't know how to pronounce his name. But these are based off of the astrology. I love these. So it has 36 cards. It has the planet, the signs, and the houses of the zodiac. So you have to read it in a specific way. This book, like the book itself, is kind of weird because it's a magnet book, but it's kind of hard to store because the guidebook comes out often, so it's not easy to store. But here's the guidebook. Tells you how to center yourself, how to visualize the situation in the question, how to phrase your question, how to obtain the question, and how to interpret the answer. So these have a method to them. You have to read them like so. You have to split them up by the planets, the signs, and the houses. So you might want to split the deck into threes and then shuffle your planets and then shuffle the signs and then shuffle the houses, and then it'll give you your answer. So let me show you what I mean. And so here's the box for the cards. Okay. So the planets, so you have to split it up by the planets and then the signs. So when you have them out into a row of three, it reads a sentence. So I think I'm gonna have to show you. So Jupiter, I'm just gonna take the first planet out. Okay, so Jupiter Sagittarius, which is the signs. You have to have a planet, a sign, and a house in the second house. So you read it exactly like this. So it has a spiritual interpretation, it has a mental interpretation, and a physical interpretation. So it gives you the initials. S is spiritual, M is mental, P is physical. So the blues represent the outcome. So I'm going to read the top row. Okay, so Jupiter says, in the granting of insights to understand your beliefs. Okay, so the granting of understanding, insights of understanding your beliefs. So it's reading you a message. The orange aspects are the actions you have to take. So you can flip it over and read the actions. So Jupiter, Sagittarius, and second house. So learn or teach your highest ideals patiently. So it's reading out a sentence to you. These are cool. So yeah, that's that. If you guys are interested in these cards, you guys can find them on eBay or Amazon or any other bookstore possibly, or online. These are called the Karma cards. And I think these were made in the 80s or something, but these are pretty cool cards to use for any reading, or might even help you how to understand and read astrology. So he does go into how to read astrology. I actually need to get on this and read it myself. But goes into the third house, the fifth house, and all of that. It goes into the houses, goes into the planets and what they represent and what they mean. So if you're into astrology or you want to learn more about astrology, you might like this deck. Okay. Okay, I got 2 more decks to go. So this one and one more, and then I'm done. So we have the Saints and Mystics reading cards. These are one of my favorite. Andre and Garcia is the publisher, and then look at the inside of this. Like, look at this. It's dope, right? So the thing about this is they have saints and mystics. So they have like different saints and then mystics. So say for instance, they have Confucius, they have Carl Jung. You know, the mystics can be, I think they have Edgar Allan Poe in here, Leonardo da Vinci. Saints, they have Saint Joseph, Saint Francis. So they go into, of course, the spreads. Like every other card, they have spreads. So this card does have a spread. How to tell the difference between a mystic and a saint? They do differentiate between the mystics. The mystics are the blue cards, and the saints are like the beige colored cards. So the meanings, they go into the oracle meanings of each card. So it goes into the emotional, the spiritual, the conscious, and then there's a prayer or invocation at the end of every interpretation. So this is a fairly big, easy to read guidebook. And it's beautiful. It's pretty. It's like they took their time. I can tell like who takes their times with their decks when it comes to the publishing and all that and their ideas. And then it has this gold trim in the case. So the cards, these are pretty dope cards. I can give some pretty good readings with these. I've only had these for a short time, probably like 2 months. I bought these from my local bookstore. So you have the different meanings, St. Paul, Sacred Visions, Edgar Case, Messages, I don't know if I'm saying his name right, St. Joseph, Divine Creation, Santa Muerte, Holy Death, which is one of my favorite cards. These are just pretty awesome. I love these cards. Joan of Arc, I think, is in here. Saint Teresa, Isaac Newton. They just, these are very beautiful cards. I love them. I would suggest these for you. If you guys just want like an oracle message reading, you know, I would suggest this one. This is the Saints and Mystics reading cards. And the book is even, I love the storaging of the book. Okay, my last Dopest oracle card I own. And this is by, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but it's Marchetti. And he has a few decks that are very popular. He has the Legacy of the Divine Tarot, Tarot of Dreams, the Gilded Tarot, and a series of other tarot decks that he has. They're very popular on YouTube. I've seen a few of his decks before, and I have a few of his decks because he is one of my favorite deck creators. And I have his Lenormand, and I have his fortune cards, and a couple of his tarot cards. So this is one of my favorite. The boxing, good boxing. His guidebook is pretty extensive. Now, the only thing about this, you really got to go straight off of your intuition with these ones. There's no names on them, just numbers. So he has names of the cards, but it's like, well, not really names, but they're like keywords. So they don't have names, so you're really going to have to go solely off of your intuition. So when you pull a card, it does obviously have the keywords, and it has the interpretation and the meanings. So because it has the number of the card, it's easy to find the number in the book, of course, so you're not just blind. But you really do have to go into your intuition. And these cards are like so like bomb when it comes to, when I say bomb, like so awesome, so cool, so great when you really read these, because they can really go into depth. These are one of my favorite cards, and his imagery never disappoints me. Never, hardly ever does his imagery disappoint me. His cards are always so vivid and vibrant, and he's an awesome artist. He's an artiste as well. He's not just a deck creator, so to speak, but his art is just like on point, and his vision, oracle of vision, he's amazing. I love his cards. I can't say that enough. I love his readings. I've had some very accurate readings with these cards when I have done personal readings with them. I think I've even done some general readings on YouTube with these before. I've done readings for friends with these cards. I love his decks. His decks are awesome. I might do a series alone on just doing his, like, reviewing all of his cards that I own, because he's awesome. He is awesome. I love his cards. They just like the bombest imagery ever. I really do. His Lenormand cards are very popular too, and I use that very often because I do Lenormand card readings. But his I have 3 of his tarot cards: the Divine Legacy, the Gilded, and the Tarot Dreams, plus this, his Lenormand, his first Gilded Lenormand, and his Fortune cards. So I have quite a few decks from him. I bought this from my local bookstore. I'm sure you can get it online. I think I have seen it online before. I would suggest these decks. They are, if you have small hands, they're not really small hand friendly. They do hurt my hands sometimes because it's like I have to stretch my hands to shuffle, unless I shuffle like this. But it's like it's awkward anyway to shuffle with these cards, and they kind of hurt a little bit. They're not the softest cards to shuffle with. They're very paper thin. You do not want to get these wet because you'll probably regret it. You have to be careful not to step on these, not to accidentally fold them, because these are not that strong. That's the only thing I can say. They are kind of paper thin, but he makes up for it with his imagery. He makes up for it with his boxing. He usually has very good cases for his decks. He's not like, no offense to those who make decks like this, but that's no bueno. And that's the top and this is the bottom. Like, they start to separate and I have to tape them up. But that's a whole nother thing. But that is my top 5 cutest and top 5 dopest oracle cards that I would suggest. Not all of these are beginner friendly. I will leave some links in the description box below for my beginner friendly tarot cards and oracle cards, as well as my top 5 cutest tarot and dopest tarot cards that I own. And how to give yourself an accurate reading, I will leave that in the description box too below. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review of my top 10, I'm just going to call them top 10 oracle cards. Cutest and dopest, whatever. These are my favorite. Out of the mini decks that I own, it was kind of hard to choose, but these I would suggest to anybody. Alright, so much love to you guys. Thank you so much for watching.